Hi, this is Evan from Enlightened Workshops. In my last video, I talked about what a miserably depressed person I was and how I got out of that. And I touched on that some of that energy is returning a little bit. And I wanted to show you, walk you through how I deal with those kind of energies today. So during the course of this video, you'll see me referring to this mind map software. So this is Mindomo, it's just one I found that's free and that you can download it. So if you look in the description below, you can download this um, piece of software. It's just a web version. You can just use it on the web. And I'll also put down there in the link my map, and you can take that, make a copy, and start your own map. And there are other videos in this that I'll be doing that I have done that talk a little bit how to make your own map and how to work with your own emotions. Okay, so here it goes. So, um, when I was 35, had the breakthrough around depression, not really depressed the same way 4.5 years ago, pretty miserably depressed, hit like a super duper bottom, which turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me, right? Super freeing. And since then, I haven't had to deal with a lot of depression, but lately I have. Just in the last 3 weeks, I'm going through something where those parts are being touched again. And I think that's one part of it is realizing any of these parts at any time can become active, even ones that you've broken free of or you're not dealing with on a daily basis. And the process is still the same to allow it. So, like for example, I woke up the other day and just miserably depressed and worked through it. So let me show you, and the rest of the day was great. But let me show you how I kind of work through that. Now, I don't always use this mind map software to do it, but I've been using it more and more lately as kind of an inventory process. It talks about in the fourth step, to keep an inventory. And I started keeping an inventory of these parts in this depression. So what's showing up a lot of times is these days is this: I feel sad and I feel depressed. So that's the outer symptom. So the way that I do this is the kind of outermost pieces um, are the part that manifests the symptom, what's showing up, and then I start looking and feeling into this to start to see what the next layer down is. So I noticed I'm feeling sad and depressed, and what's coming up is it's because I'm not doing enough with my life, and it's like okay, it feels like I'm not accomplishing enough, I'm not making enough of a mark, etc. I'm sure all of us can relate to that to some degree. Um, but then, and I think this is where the sort of real magic of this process comes, it doesn't stop there because I'm not doing enough with my life. As I'm sitting with this, it gets down to nobody loves me. And it's like now we're getting down to the real thing. And I'll just say for me that this has been much of my life. When I was miserably depressed, it looked like this. I'm not doing enough in my life. I'm not accomplishing enough. But see if you can follow this here. So I'm not doing enough in my life is my solution to nobody loves me. So the real deep down feeling is nobody loves me. Now you'll see some of these other pieces here that talk about these are the thoughts that are attached to nobody loves me. I'm unlovable. No one could ever love me. So these little boxes are the thoughts. And these bigger colored boxes, I call the parts. These are sort of trapped energies, blocks, emotional blocks, if you will. And so as I sit with this energy, I get on the phone with a fellow and I process this nobody loves me. All of a sudden, this outer thing vanishes, and I'm not depressed, and I'm not feeling low. Right. And then I'm also not as concerned with I'm not doing enough for my life because the reality is I'm doing plenty. But then, and this one keeps going. And most of these I just have three. This one I have four. I've noticed there was something underneath the nobody loves me. As I'm sitting with this, why does nobody love me? Nobody loves me because I'm the worst, most terrible person to ever live. I'm horrible. And so these are some of the thoughts. So I can take this and I can just start, putting down some of the thoughts that come with this. I am horrible. And these are thoughts I've been with my whole life. I'm horrible. I'm awful. And you see how kind of easy this is to work with. It's a strange thing a little bit to have such a sort of technical thing to sort of keep track of these emotions, but that's one of the powerful things I see. I'm evil. But one of the things I see is that by keeping track of these different parts, I'm able to come and feel these things and work with these energies here proactively. In other words, I don't have to wait for this sadness here to get triggered. I can now proactively, the way that I would with a kid, come and sit with nobody loves me and I'm the worst, most terrible person to ever live as I sit with those energies. And you know what? I just realized I'm going to do a third part of this series, and I'm going to walk you through. So that kind of lays out where you see the emotions underneath. But I'm going to do another video where I walk you through how do I actually sit with those energies and those feelings, because that's the real ticket. How do I get down? How do I touch them? So the next video will be like feeling and actually getting down to the feeling, because that's where the real healing and the real magic happens. So I guess tune in for part 3 of this little series, and we'll see if it's helpful for you. I hope you're doing well, and I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.